I went to work. I was never kinder. Okay, oh, I'll show the old man?
Yeah.
Okay. Kinder to the old man than during that whole week before I killed him. And every night about midnight, I turned the latch of his door. And opened it. And then, when I had made an opening sufficient for my head, I put in a dark lantern, all closed, so that no light shone out. And then I thrust in my head. I moved it very slowly, so that I might not disturb the old man's sleep. It took me an hour to place my whole head within the opening so far that I could see him as he lay upon his bed. And then, with my head was well in the room, I undid the lantern just so much that a single thin ray fell upon the vulture eye. And this I did every night, just at midnight. But I found that the eye was always closed. And so it was impossible to do the work, for it was not the old man who vexed me, but his evil eye. And every morning, when the day broke, I went boldly into the chamber and spoke courageously to him, calling him by name in a hearty tone and inquiring how he had passed the night. So you see, he would have been a very profound old man indeed to suspect that every night, just at 12, I looked in upon him while he slept. Upon the 8th night, I was more than usually cautious in opening the door. A watch's minute hand moves more quickly than did mine. Never before that had I felt the extent of my own powers, of my sagacity. To think that there I was, opening the door, little by little, and not even to dream of my secret deeds or thoughts did he. He moved then on the bed suddenly, as if startled. Now you may think that I drew back, but no. His room was as black as pitch, with a thick darkness, and so I knew that he could not see the opening of the door, and I kept pushing on it. I had my head in and was about to open the lantern, when my thumb, when my thumb slipped upon the tin fastening, and the old man sprang up in his bed, crying out, "Who is there?" I kept quite still and said nothing for a whole hour. I did not hear him lie down. He was just sitting up in the bed, listening, just as I have done night after night. Presently, I heard a slight groan. I knew it was the groan of mortal terror. It was the low, stifled sound that arises from the bottom of the soul when overcharged with awe. I say I knew it well. I knew what the old man felt and pitied him, although I chuckled at heart. I knew he'd been lying awake ever since the first slight noise when he had turned in his bed. His fears had been ever since growing upon him. He had been saying to himself, "It is nothing but the wind in the chimney. It is only a mouse crossing the floor." Or, "It is merely a cricket which has made a single chirp." Yes, he's been trying to comfort himself with these suppositions, and it was the mournful influence of the unperceived shadow that caused him to feel, although he neither saw nor heard, to feel the presence of my head within the room. When I had waited a long time, very patiently, without hearing him lie down, I resolved to open a little, for a little crevice in the lantern. I so opened it. You cannot imagine how stealthily, until at length a single dim ray, like the thread of a spider, shot from out of the crevice and fell upon the vulture eye. It was wide open, and I grew furious as I gazed upon it. I saw it with perfect distinctness, all a dull blue, with a hideous veil wail over it that chilled the very marrow of my bones. But I could not see nothing else of the old man's face or person, for I had directed the ray as if by instinct precisely on the damned spot. And have I not told you that what you mistake for madness is but over-acuteness of the senses? Now I say there came to my ears a low, dull, quick sound, such as a watch makes when enveloped in cotton. I knew that sound well, too. It was the beating of the old man's heart. It increased my fury. But even yet I refrained and kept still. I held the lantern motionless, and I tried how steadily I could to maintain the ray upon the eye. Meanwhile, the tattoo of the heart increased. It grew quicker and louder every instant. The old man's terror must have been extreme. It grew louder every moment. I have told you that I am nervous, and now for some minutes longer I refrained and stood still, but the beating, it grew louder. I thought the heart must burst. The sound would be heard by a neighbor. The old man's hour had come. I threw open the lantern and leapt into the room. He shrieked only once. Ah! In an instant, I dragged him to the floor and put the old heavy bed over him. Then I smiled gaily to find the deed so far done. But for many minutes, the heart beat on with a muffled sound. This, however, did not vex me. It would not be heard through the wall. At length it ceased. The old man, he was dead. I removed the bed and examined the corpse. Yes, he was stone dead. His eye would trouble me no more. If still you think me mad, you will no longer think so when I describe the wise precautions I took for concealment. The night waned, and I worked in silence. First, I dismembered the corpse. I cut off the head, and the arms, and the legs. I took upon 3 planks from the floor chamber, and deposited all between the scantling. Then I replaced the board so cleverly, so cunningly, that no human eye could have ever detected anything wrong. There was nothing to wash out, no blood spot left. So when I had made an end of these labors, it was 4 o'clock, still dark as midnight. All the bells sounded the hour, and there came a knocking at the street door. I went down to open it with a light heart, for what had I now to fear? There entered, 3 men, who introduced themselves as neighbors, officers to the police. A shriek had been heard by a neighbor during the night. Suspicion of foul play information had been logged at the police office, and the officers had been deputed to search the premises. I smiled. What did I have to fear? The shriek, I said, was my own.